Right, hello. Well, I said I'd try and get this chart done or show you it again. Because in the last video I was trying to explain about Brad Pitt's birthday and how it tied into inauguration and, well, or later dates to the inauguration. Anyway, so I've got the chart up here. This is, I think I'm just going to call it the 7 mirror chart from here on out. Maybe. I don't know, because it is interesting. The first thing I'll say about this, right, is we're looking at this mirror point on the 7th of January, okay? And then we're looking at dates that mirror from the previous year, or, this side of the mirror through to this side of the mirror. And when we look at the 7 date as the mirror, it is kind of interesting that a mirror, if you break a mirror, you have 7 years bad luck. But anyway, when we look at this 7 mirror date, when we look at Christmas here, okay, it popped us out on the 20th of January, which was Inauguration Day, which was the day that Donald Trump was resurrected from the dead, if you like. He's back in office that particular day. So this is interesting, the idea of Christmas, because obviously the idea of Christmas ties into the idea of the sun dying and then being reborn. Okay, and you have the 3 days of darkness that is used at Easter, whereas Easter, I believe, tends to be more of an idea of eclipse. So you don't have 3 days of eclipse, but the 3-day resurrection from Christmas is used at Easter. If you can make sense of that. Or what I should say is the winter solstice, because actually, when we're looking at this, the winter solstice is actually right here. Okay? It's usually on the 21st of December, but as the sun drifts against the calendar, what it does is it pops over into the 22nd, and then you have a leap year, and then it resets it back into the 21st. Okay, if that makes sense. So, it wants to be, it's usually in the 21st, let's put it that way, and that's probably where it should be most of the time. Okay, but it does drift over into 22nd. Anyway, let me show you why that's interesting, because I might as well show it now while I've got it up here. We were looking at a date, and we're going to go 3 days. What I'll do is I'll underline the 22nd, okay, because this 22 here, this 22nd, when we run through, goes to this date here, the 23rd here, and I'll just put the cross in here again for the solstice, the winter solstice. So this is the mirror date here, which is the 23rd into the 24th. Now recall, in Back to the Future, when Marty's going to go back the first time, Doc wouldn't read the letter, and Marty's in the time machine. He's like, oh man, I got a time machine here, I'll just go back 10 minutes early and I'll warn Doc. So he types in 1:24 in the time circuits. That's 1:24 a.m. in the morning, but we got the 1:24, okay, that we've got here. When he arrives back, the clock on the side of the clock tower, so to speak, the one that's actually still running, because it's the Bank of America on the side, it says 1:23 and then changes fairly soon to 1:24. So these numbers, the numerology here, is happening on Marty's way back, okay? So this is interesting that this is the true death and resurrection of the sun. Now, I don't, for the life of me, I've done a video on this before, but I can't remember exactly. I couldn't remember whether it stays. I'm trying to think. When it's at its lowest point is the 21st, but I don't know if it comes. I don't know if we count the day before as one of those 3 days of darkness, or whether it's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, if you like. I'm not quite sure, how the sun is, where it's remaining fairly static at that dead point, for 3 days. I'm not quite sure how that falls in relationship to the actual solstice point itself. I don't know if it's even both sides or lopsided or what. Anyway, that's probably just really confused everybody, me talking about that. But anyway, let's just stick with this is the solstice. So, in between these two dates here, like the midnight hour, let's just use that as an idea, which is what we're running up to now. Okay, so I've left this one a bit late. I don't think anything's going to happen, to be quite honest. I think we might have a reference though, and let me explain why we might have a reference. But I want to just finish out this thought with Back to the Future. So when he changes the time circuits, arrives back in 1985, we've got these numbers up on the board, okay, up on the clock. Let me show you something. Let's go to this. So, here's the time circuits when he's changed it. They don't have the clock up here. The clock is further back in this scene, but I might be able to click back on it. It'd just be luck getting it on the right spot. I don't really want to waste too much time on this because you've all seen this before, but it is kind of important. Here's the 123, and then we go on, and it changes to 124 again. So we've got those numbers referenced, and then we come back to this point, which I want to show you. We've got Marty coming down. Hang on, we've got him coming down the hill here. I want to show him coming down the hill. So Doc's shot. Let's just show just prior to this point. So Marty's come down the hill, okay, prior to this point here. What has happened here is Doc's about to get shot, Marty's just arriving, and it's 1:33 on the clock. Okay, now also recall Easter this last year gone was on 3:31. Okay, note that this is the Lone Pine, and if we go back to earlier on in the film where Marty's going to meet Doc to do the original tests where they set Einstein going through and Einstein does his little jump. We have the famous Twin Pines, the Twin Towers with the 116 which rotates around for 9/11. So this sign is a direct 9/11 reference right here. So when we come back to this sign, we have these interesting numbers that we're going to look at for a number jump. Because this sign is a direct 9/11 reference, we're going to look at some number jumps involving this now. Okay, so Doc's about to get shot. We don't know exactly what time Doc gets shot because this clock is going to change while Marty is watching Doc getting shot. Could be 1:33, could be 1:34. We'll just stick with 1:33, or at least the idea that he's shot right before 1:34. Okay, so there's Doc getting shot. He watches this, and then I want to show you running around. So Marty runs around, and we see the clock has changed to 1:34. Okay, this is important, right? He's come to the other side now. This is interesting because this is as he does that little run round, that's kind of where he's getting kind of shot at. And then we have the misfire. So it's kind of where he should have died, which is interesting. And then we have the "you Alec" or whatever, I don't know. I don't want to go too far. Let's just shift on a bit here. And then we have the misfire. He says "you Alec Baldwin." And then Marty's going to make his escape. Come on, Marty, go. I want to get to this point where what's important here is, oh, that's good. Didn't know I could do that. I can hold down the whatever that arrow key is. It's not really an arrow key, it's a... Okay, we're getting to the point. Come on, I'll just play it. Right. Oh, Marty does this crazy leap as well. This is really interesting as well, with the idea of the leap of faith. Also in 9/11, the jumpers. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know what to make of the actual the way he is splayed out. But one other thing to note about this is that in Mars Attacks, Michael J. Fox's character does a crazy leap, and there's also a crazy leap when I'm trying to think, on the train, when Marty jumps onto the pines that have fell, so onto the 9/11 again, he does a crazy leap like this as well. So there's, and note, he's coming down a bank here. This is an embankment. Okay, just like coming over the dam here. Okay, because the bank contains the water, or the flow, or the money, or the time. Okay, so we got the 134 from that, with the same sign that has the 9/11. Now, hopefully I've got this up here somewhere, so I'm going to be upset if I've gone through all that now and I didn't have the number. I'll tell you what, we can use this number jump here. 9/11. So remember, the train took us, the 131 on the train took us to the 20th. Now let's do the 134, because we have the sign, which was referencing 9/11. Okay, and then let's go 134. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I tell you what else is interesting, is if Doc got shot on 133, let me show you something with Doc's gematria. Yeah, I've got it in here. Okay, I got some variations on Doc. I got train at the top. Now remember, what's interesting about Doc Emmett Brown, or Dr. Emmett Brown if you want to write it the DR version, 6273 does match up with train. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The fact that we have the train reference through the whole thing, Doc comes back in a flying train, 122 also shows up with just Doc Brown. Okay, so 122 showing up with Doc Brown is kind of interesting. Why? Because if Doc is dying the day before, yeah, say he got shot when the clock was showing 133, yeah, 122, Doc Brown. Remember I showed you all the connections with the train to this particular date. I was thinking Madonna might croak on it or have some kind of big reference to it. Nothing happened. This is why I don't think anything's going to happen tonight with the dam, but you never know. But anyway, this 133 comes before it. Okay, and so then if we put the 134 in, because we're going from 9/11 through 134, which is what's on the clock now, it takes us to the 23rd of January. So I just thought it was interesting, right? Now, if we go back to, so we had all that in Back to the Future connecting in, right? But why? So I'm going to say why this is interesting with this chart now, okay? Because, well, I say why it's interesting with the chart, but let's just recap. We're coming to this point here, okay, which is the true death and resurrection of the sun, okay, in terms of mirroring here. Now, let me show you something. If I go back 118 days or 119 days inclusive, okay, with the end date included, guess where I'm going to end up? Yeah, you guessed it. I'm going to end up at 9/11, okay, from this point. So this already looks interesting, right? If I go out the other way, guess where I'm going to end up? I'm going to do the same number jumps here. I'm going to end up at 5/5, Cinco de Mayo. Now, why? I mean, obviously this is interesting because if you've watched my stuff with, obviously the number 55 in Back to the Future is the year they go back to. This is the all-important year, okay? Doc hits his head on the 5th of November. November, the opposite side of the year to November is, I believe, May, okay? So there's that. But if I'm thinking about that right, I think that's right. But anyway, so the 5/5 obviously is important with Back to the Future 55. And also, remember the lightning that hits the top of the clock tower in the chart of Lorraine is a stylized 55, okay? It's the 55 that's right above here. So this becomes, it's just so interesting, isn't it? Let's go one step further for interestingness. The total number jump across here is basically either 118 times 2 plus 1 or 119 times 2 minus 1. Okay? Because we've either included or we haven't included this point here, right? Anyway, to cut a long story short, the total inclusive jump across here is 237 days. Room 237. This is absolutely mental. 232. So 9/11 going into room 237. Yeah, we're into a period of 237 days till 5/5 till Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de May, Mary. The sinking of Mary. I don't know, or is the sink of Mary the Hoover Dam? Yeah, the big basin of Mary. It's interesting, isn't it? 5/5 is in the dollar bill, and it is part of the Labor Day fold. 5/5 is our start point for the Labor Day fold, and then encoded below part of that fold is 122, right? And then we have another fold line that goes through the eyes, remember? And that fold line that goes through the eyes happens to go through 4 leaves, and then the remainder of the junk that's at the bottom there, leaves and berries, is a 9. And from 5/5, 122 days takes us to 4/9, which in many years is Labor Day. And so that's why I call it the Labor Day fold, because it's Washington being born out of the dam. Sorry for new people that don't know what the hell I'm talking about there, but old watchers will know that that Labor Day fold is where Washington's head pops up out of the dam, and that's the dates that are included there. But this is encoded. 5/5 though, this is well interesting that this pops up again. Oh, it's just mental. Anyway, there's something else I wanted to show you. Oh look, yeah, well, this is why this is interesting as well. Yeah, hang on, I've forgotten something here. So remember, well, I don't need to go back to it, but on the 19th, pre-inauguration, Donald Trump did the old firework display, didn't he? Where him and Dewdrop were stood there, you know, holding hands, watching the fireworks go off, and it was Fight Club style, yeah. On the 19th at his golf course. Trail it back. Where does it go back to? Boom. Boxing Day. Oh my word. I was like, when I seen this the other day, I was like, oh goodness gracious me. Fight Club, yeah. And we did all the stuff with the Fighting Irish, the stuff in Snatch, Fight Club, all the connections to Fight Club, especially with Brad Pitt, And then we have that on, which would be Boxing Day. This is the mirror of Boxing Day right here. So yeah, anyway, Brad Pitt's birthday is going to mirror out to the 27th. And this is again, the 127 is Marty's jump back, go from that date, October, 88 days, was going to bring us out to this day here. So there was a lot of stuff that looked hot for today. Again, we don't know the year, so we're guessing. This stuff might still work in the future. It may still work today. A couple of hours left. I doubt it though. But this is interesting though. This is why I've done the video. It's because this is crazy. Was there anything else I wanted to show you? I'm thinking, I've got the number jumps up here. You can double check me. 9/11 through to 5/5/237. Here's our 119, goes through to 5/5, and if we go the other way, okay, including end date 119 back through to 9/11, and we're just including the end date, but you have to remember when you do that, you've got one extra day in there. If you can't just add up 119 plus 119 to give you your jump for all of those days. Got a -1 off. I think I've shown everything I wanted to show, to be quite honest. Oh, I'll tell you something interesting as well. So that 22nd date, okay, let me show you. This 22nd date that's mirroring over to the 23rd. Interesting thing was Robin and Maurice Gibb, okay, out of the Bee Gees, okay, they're twins, okay, and they are born on the 22nd of December. Now, why that's interesting is because of the film Saturday Night Fever. It is so loaded with 9/11 references. I've got several little personal references in there. There's references that tie John Travolta back to Pulp Fiction, so forth and so on. So there's so many, and then we tie back to Eric Stoltz, which ties us back to the Hoover Dam because his birthday is the same birthday as the Hoover Dam, with Back to the Future, with his little role in Back to the Future, which I think was highly deliberate. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was worth a mention. The twins that, it links back. Saturday Night Fever links back. It's got so many references in it. Just the songs alone. If you just look at the soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever, all the songs that are on there, Burn Baby Burn, and all this stuff. I mean, it's just mental. The encoding, the Odyssey, the club, yeah, the Space Odyssey. So I mean, yeah, just crazy. I just thought it was worth a mention that they were on the 22nd there. So anyway, I think I've done about everything I wanted to do. What was that day? Oh, this was just coming through with the Hoover Dam. Yeah, 99 days or 100 days. I think I mentioned that before though, didn't I? Super significant to that date. Okay. Just going through it. Double check. Oh, hang on. I always like to double check because there's always something I forgot, and then I have to write it in the comments, and it's just painful. Die Another Day. I was talking about Madonna for the 22nd. The film Die Another Day now, not her song, shares the 122 numerology. Check the running time. Check the running time for the film. 1:34. Yeah. Check the running time for the film. 1:34. If I could just go back to it, just click right on it now. Here we go. 1:34. Run time. Look, it's running right now. Okay. Don't know. Was a lot of possibilities for tonight. I will catch on another one soon. I guess if I get a minute, I should probably show that Labor Day fold at some point because people are probably wondering what the hell it is. You have to go back and find it. Yeah. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.